Welcome in this new episode of the Landing Page from Scratch series. Today we are gonna build a homepage for a consultant. Hi, I'm Hanne from Thrive Teams, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to make a really good looking homepage for a consultant business. Now, if you want to get started immediately, you can download the template underneath this video and simply upload it to your website with Thrive landing pages. But I really hope you will watch this tutorial because I'm planning on showing you some really cool design tricks. Let me show you the homepage we are gonna build. This is the consultant homepage we are gonna build. As you can see, it has really fresh colors and a lot of white, so it's a light homepage, and it has a call to action to take a quiz. Now, next, you can see some information about the business, and then we have an about the author section or about the consultant, and then you can see the case studies, which are very colorful, and I'll show you how to do that, some testimonials, and then a blog post grid, and a last call to action to take the quiz again. So this is the full homepage that you are gonna learn how to build in this tutorial. As always, we'll start with a new page on your website. You can save it as a draft and edit it with Thrive Content Builder. From here, go to Thrive Landing Pages, choose a landing page, and in the Thrive Templates cloud, you can see the blank full width page. Open this one. Now we have a blank slate to start from. The very first thing we are gonna do is change our fonts of the whole homepage so that we don't have to do it separately. For this, go into your Thrive Landing Pages menu and go to Landing Page Settings. And here you can click on Landing Page Fonts. You can add a custom font. In our case, we use Open Sans, and we'll also put the font size in there. And you can see immediately that this font is changing on your page. And we will also set the right colors. So in this case, the H1 will be white. And I'll quickly do the same for the other headings. Now everything is set up, so I can simply close this again. Let's take a look at the original landing page to see what our first section should look like. The very first section is this background image with a big white title on it, and then we also have a subheading. So the one with "Are you missing the important insight?" and "Take the quiz to find out." This is our very first page section. Let's create that one. So here we can simply delete this image because we don't need it anymore, and we can use this existing section as our first section. The first thing I will do is click on it and change the background color. The reason why I'm doing this is to make sure that the white text that's on it is immediately readable, even if the image takes a little time to load. So next I will add a background image. Simply select it. And I will make this full height. Now from here you can see there is a little gap on the top of the image, and so I will take this out. To do so you have to add negative margins. So in this case let's add -25. And this is our first section. We have to add a title in there, and we can use this element that's already on the page. So I'll select and paste my title. Now let's center align this text. And I want this text to be smaller, so I don't want it to be full width. In order to do this, I have to add a content container. So I drag a content container above the text, click on it and make it 900 pixels. Now I can drag my title into this content container. You can see you still have some text in here, so I will delete this. And to lower this title on this section, I will click on this and I will add a margin on top of it. So margin, and add a top margin of 60 pixels. We'll also adjust the spacing in between the lines. So for this, I will have to change the line height of the text. So I'll click on the text and the line height, I will make this 70. And now I will bold some parts of the text. So I can just select it and make it bold. From here we want to add our subheading. So let's drag a new text element underneath the title, paste in our text, center align it, and we'll need a top margin and a bottom margin of 60 pixels. Now this text should be white. So let's change the color, make it white. And we want the take the quiz actually to be orange. So let's select it again and make this peachy orange. All right, let's save this. The next thing we want to build is this box. So we want to have the start quiz box, and then we will have the other elements that are in the same page section. So as you can see, everything is in the same color. So up until the white, everything is in the same page section. But first we will take care of this box with the start quiz button. For this, we'll first add a new section. So let's drag a section in there and make this white. Now, to be able to create that box in the middle of the page, we want first to put a content container in there so that we can make the box only 600 pixels wide. So let's put a content container, make it 600 pixels wide, and add a content box style 6 in there. Now you can see that the content box is only 600 pixels. If I would put this box outside of the content container, it would spread to the whole width of the page. So that's the reason why we use this content container. Now this box has to be white. And you can see on the original page that the box has rounded corners and that it's like half overlapping with the section above it. So the way to do this is, first of all, you can add a border radius. So let's put 10 pixels border radius. So now you see that this has like the rounded corners around the box. And I just kept the border around the box to show you these rounded corners because I actually don't want a border around the box. So I will go back into my color panel and here I will change the border to be white too. So now you can't see for the moment that this has rounded corners, but it will soon become clear. Because the way we will move this box up is by clicking on the content container, and we will add a negative margin to this content container. So on the top of the container, we'll add a negative 140 margins. Now you can see that the box is overlapping with the section above. And in order to have the effect with the 3 colors, we're actually gonna copy this box 3 times. We don't need the text inside the box. And we can simply make this first one the darkest color. So the background will be this dark and the border also. And then we take the second box. Now this one will be lighter. So we'll make it this lighter purple and the same with the border. And then we have our white box that we're gonna work on. So now we want to move these boxes one above the other. And to do so, click on the second one, go into margins and padding and add a negative 65 margin on there. Now you can see that these boxes overlap. And we're gonna do the same with the white one. So click on it and add a minus 75 pixels to it. Now we have our 3 boxes lined up the way we want it, and we can add the button for the quiz start in there. Now drag a button into this white content box and let's pick style 1. And then we're gonna change the color. So this will be the pinkish orange color and the text color should be white. And the text shadow can be the same orange. We don't really want a shadow. And then we are going to do the same on hover. And now we're going to center align the button, make the text 20 pixels. And in link settings, we can change this to say start the quiz. and we can delete this text element. Now, this button, you would link it to a quiz that has no splash page. So when people click on the Start the Quiz button, they would immediately get the first question of their quiz. And especially for a consultant, this is a really good way, a quiz, to engage with the audience, to get super interesting information, and also to capture leads. So that's the reason why we use this quiz button. So we can actually use this element underneath this quiz box. We're gonna make this a header 2 instead of a paragraph, and center align the title, and we're also gonna add some more margin to get it farther away from the box. So a top margin of 60 and a bottom margin of 62. Now we want a normal paragraph of text underneath there, and this text is also center aligned. The next thing we're gonna build is this column layout. And as you can see, this column layout is smaller than the full width of the page. This is important to know when we're building this. And then we have like this image, heading 3 and some paragraph. And we'll repeat this 3 times. To restrain the width of this column layout, we will start with a content container. And we'll make this content container 900 pixels wide. In the content container, we're gonna add a column layout. So a 2-column layout. As you might know, you can create a column layout either by dragging elements or by using the column layout element. Now, let's add an image to the left side. And use this element, which is a text element with written column 2, to make our title. So this will be a heading 3, and then we want a paragraph of text. So drag a text element in the column. And to line up the text with the image, we're gonna click on the column layout, and we're gonna use this vertical align middle to make sure that the text is in the middle of our image. And one last thing that we're gonna do on this layout is we're gonna take away the margin. So we're gonna put a margin 0 around the image. So click on the image and you can go into margins and paddings, and then here put it to 0. So as you can see, this makes the columns a little bit smaller. Now, this is the exact layout that we want 3 times. So we're gonna copy this twice. And here I'm simply gonna drag the image to the other side. Why I'm doing this is that so I don't have to recreate this title and take away these margins and whatever. I can simply use this layout, and now when I click on the image, I can choose change image. And this will keep all the settings that we already made beforehand. So let's click on this one too. And change it. And then you can simply change the text. Now we already have our top section with our nice looking content box and the Start the Quiz button. We have our second section that will explain a little bit more about the business. And now we want the author section. And for this, we use this bright blue with a white content box. So it really stands out a lot. To do so, add a new section, click on the section and pick the background color to be blue. Add a content box style 6 in there next to this text element. This will create 2 columns. Now we want an image on the other side. I'm gonna delete this text element. Choose our image. And we want this image to be exactly aligned with the page section. To do so, we are gonna start by taking away all the margins around the image. So click on the image and let's check if it has margins around it. So here you can see 20, and now this we will put to 0. The same with the column layout. So click on the column layout, and here you can see we have a bottom margin of 20, and we also have this padding. So the bottom margin is between the end of the section and the column layout, and the padding is between the image and the column layout. So we're also gonna put this padding to 0. And now there's one last padding that's still around, and this is in the page section. So let's click on the page section, and here you can see that we still have a bottom padding of 20, so we're gonna put that on 0 too. Now the image is perfectly aligned with the section, and we can start working on our content box. First of all, we don't want this box to be the complete width of the column layout, so we're gonna put a content container in the left column. Click on the content container and make this 520 pixels wide. And now we can drag our box in there. And as you can see, so I'm just going to delete this text element. As you can see here, automatically the content container will align the element in the center. So it will put the same margins here and here. But we want this to be closer to the picture. So we will choose to align it to the right. So in your content container, click on it and then align right. For this content box, we want to add a border radius, so 10 pixels, and a white border. We also want to add a little title in there, so I'm just dragging a text element. I'm gonna choose a heading 3, and this is Who Am I? And for the signature, we want to recreate the feeling of a written signature. And to do so, we take a text element, drag it underneath the box, click on this, and we will pick Sacramento as a font. Now, this is one of the Google fonts, so you can simply load this on your website. If you don't have it yet, you can add a new custom font and then select Sacramento from the list. So here, Sacramento, will make this one a light blue, and 40 pixels wide. And the name would be Matt Spencer. Let's center line. Now, this is our About the Author section. The next section we want to build on this page is our case studies section. So this is actually something very interesting to do when you have a consultant business, because you will see here we have blog posts, but maybe you don't have a blog or you don't publish regularly on your blog. But having case studies is a really good way to show your work and to show what you're able to do for people. So in this case, we want to have this grid layout with 4 different colors, and first the title, and then we're also gonna add this testimonial slider in there. Now, as you can see again, this element is not the full width of the page. So again, this means we're gonna use a content container. Now, let's build this section. First of all, we need to add the section in there. This section has to be a white background color, so we click on it, background color white. And the first thing we want to do is put our content container in there. Make this container 900 pixels. And we can delete this text element and use this text element as our subheading. This is a heading 2, center align, and a margin, top margin and bottom margin of 60 pixels. Now next we want a grid layout, and we will use the block grid because this allows you to have this nice looking grid with the whole element is actually clickable. So choose the post grid element, drag it under the title but inside the content container, and click on the Add Post Grid. Now here you will see a lot of options. So first of all, we want to show a featured image, we want the title, but we don't want any summary text. And we want the read more link. Next, on the Edit query, here you can see that you can pick if you want to show posts or pages. In this case, I set it up as a post. And I only want one. You will quickly understand why I'm doing this. In the filter sections, I could use the category case study. So this would then show all the case studies. But in this case, I want full control over the grid. And because I'm only showing one by one, I will actually pick the exact one I want. So in this case, the first one is case study 1. And on the display settings, I want a number of columns also to be 1. Now let's save this. So you can see that now I have one super huge block grid. When I click on it, I can choose here to make the image maximum height. And in our case, we want 250 pixels. So this already makes it a lot smaller. And the title height will be 30 pixels. And the reason why we do one by one, which is normally not really how you would use this grid, is because we want to change the background color of each image. And because these are case studies, and so probably not something that will change very often, it's not a problem that this will not be updated on your homepage. So here in the color options, you can go to background color. And for the first one, we will pick this orange one. And we want the text to be white. Now I will do the same for the block grid next to it. So I simply dragged a new post grid next to it. And I'm gonna pick again, so no text. We want only one post. Here we want this to be case study 2. And only one column. And the maximum width would be 250. And now I can actually pick the background color to be the purple one. So here, when I click on it in the background color, I can pick this purple. And again, I will set the colors to be white, the text colors. And the title font is 30 pixels too. This is the way that I will be able to build this very colorful grid with the 4 case studies. So I'll just continue and I'll do the same for the next 2 case studies. Now, the only thing that you have to remember or that you have to think of is to make this a new column layout. So the new post grid, the next one, I could put it underneath this first one, but I'm not gonna do that. The reason for that is the mobile view. If I put this case study, which would be case study 3, underneath case study 1 in the same column, then on mobile it would read case study 1, case study 3, case study 2, case study 4. So I want to make sure that this element number 3 is not in the same column. So I'm quickly gonna build that. Now that I have this grid, the last thing I want to do is play around a bit with the margins to get these 4 elements closer together. So let's see on the column options, we have a 20 bottom margin that we can delete, and then also this padding. And here we can do the same. And around the grid element, we also have margins. So now our 4 case studies are closer together and they look pretty good. Now, the next element we want to add is a testimonial slider, because testimonials, especially if you're selling your services online, are very important to gain the trust of the people who are visiting your homepage. And for this, we will use Thrive Ovation. So Thrive Ovation is our all-in-one testimonial plugin. And the big advantage of this is that we can simply display the testimonials that we already saved in our WordPress dashboard. In this case, I will pick slider 9 and I can create a new display from the testimonials that I have saved. And here I just have some dummy testimonials, so let's select these ones. Now I can change the layout color. So I will use the orange that we've been using, and we'll also change this text color to be the same. And now our testimonials match the rest of our page. Let's save this. We're almost there. Only 3 more sections to build. So we have this latest blog post, and then we still have a new box to take the quiz. We have to add a new page section. From here, click on it and select the color we want. And in this case, we want to have a title in there. This would be a heading 2 with our latest blog posts. Center align this, and this text color would be white. Now we're also going to add the margin, and here we're going to add a top margin of 60 and a bottom margin of 120. This bottom margin will allow us to have the overlap with the blog grid. So now we need a new page section. This one would be white. So when you click on it, you can select the background color. And we need a content container in there so that we can have the grid only 900 pixels wide. So a content container and make this 900. I can delete this text element, and this time I'm going to use a blog grid, but I'm actually going to use it the way it is supposed to be used, so that each time when you publish a new blog post, it will automatically be updated on your homepage. And for this, what we're going to do is drag a post grid in there, select it, and this time, so I will not put a summary text, mainly because these are dummy articles, so they don't actually have text in there. So you can choose if you want to have a summary text, of course. And then if we go to the edit query, we want to show the 3 latest posts. And here in the categories, we can choose consultant. So this means that each time you publish a new blog post in this category, your homepage will be updated automatically. And in the display settings, we want 3 columns. So let's save this. Now we can still tweak the design a bit. Let's make the image 150 pixels. This title should only be 24. We're also going to change the color of it to be the same dark purple color as the rest of the page. And the same with the read more link. Now I can delete this text element, which is written your content here. And now to make sure that this blog grid overlaps with the section above, we need to add a negative top margin again. Click on the content container, go to margins and paddings, and add a minus 120 in the top margin. And we're also going to add a 140 pixels as the bottom margin. And now you can see that these photos are nicely overlapping with our latest blog post section. Now finally we can build our last page section, and that's the one with a new box with the call to action to take the quiz. Because if somebody scrolled down on your homepage to the bottom, then you don't want to have them to scroll up again to be able to find your call to action. So it's always a good idea to have your call to action also on the bottom of the page. So let's put a page section in there. This will actually be a nice gray. I'll simply drag the disclaimer links in there too. And now we want to add the same element as we have here on the top of the page. So we want this content box. So for this, I will first copy it. So make sure to be in the content container, which looks a bit weird because with the negative margins, it's not really around the the content box anymore, but this one is the content container. You copy this, so that's on the green button in the left corner. And then we can take this element and drag it all down the page and put it in this page section. And immediately, because it kept the negative margin, it's actually nicely overlapping with our last section and our section above. So I'm going to delete this text element. And now I'm just going to change the colors of this element. Now I can select the middle one and change the colors. And we still want to add a little title and a paragraph above the quiz button. This would be a heading 2. Make this a lighter gray. And then we have a text element. Now, there's one last thing we have to do to finish up this page, and that is, here I still have another page section because I dragged the disclaimer and the copyright links into the one above, so I can simply delete this page section. And then there is still this little white gap, and to avoid this, I can click on the section and put a negative bottom margin. And that's it. This is your homepage. This is a very good looking, with, like I promised, nice design elements, homepage for a consultant. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. And if you have any questions, you can comment below this video. And of course, don't forget, you can also download the template and upload it to your own website with Thrive landing pages.